All right. Welcome everyone to the first ever Power Up GG stream. Thank you so much for tuning in. It means a whole lot to me, and my hope that it's going to mean a whole lot to you and our community as well. Before I introduce tonight's guests, allow me to introduce Power Up GG and myself. This organization has been established to connect gamers, provide amazing experiences to their community, and give gamers the tools to empower their own lives. I started Power Up GG because I felt that we ought to reconnect with ourselves with what gaming is. When I came home from college, I felt a little isolated. And many of my own former friends were on their own paths, and at the time, it was difficult to find time to get together due to work and various other moving pieces. So we returned to one of our favorite hobbies, games. It gave us something to look forward to and a sort of purpose to some of our actions. It is that shared joy, sense of community, and even purpose that I hope we can talk about in these streams. And eventually, once health officials conquer COVID 19, South Bend's very own gaming convention. That's enough of my story, though. Let's hear from some people who built their careers with games as their inspiration. Without further delay, we'd like to introduce you to two creators from our own area who have built a positive community with their own hands. Let's get right to it. Please welcome Tasty Peach Studios and Brandon and Cartoon Connect with Brandon Reed. Looks like Riss has gone out of cam for the moment. Might be doing some technical difficulties there. We've got Brandon with us. Brandon, why don't you say hello to the chat? Good, how are you? There's Riss. How you doing tonight, Riss? I'm great. Thanks, Brandon and Riss, for joining me. I'm so excited for you to share just a little bit of your story tonight with our guests and share a little bit of your passion. You two are obviously both very skilled. You've had some amazing success. Brandon, in creating your YouTube channel, getting that Golden Creator Award with Cartoon Connect and creating the story of Little Ron Ron. Riss, in creating your art studio as well as your own game store and merchandise lines. So I'm really excited for everything you two have done, and I'm so excited. And South Bend is lucky to have people like you in our community. So with that said, I just like to hear a little bit about your South Bend story. So let's go, ladies first, I guess. And Riss, why don't you let us know what brought you to South Bend and how approximately how long have you been here? That's great. That's great. And Brandon, your story's a little bit different. You're the in a way a hometown hero, right? You grew up in this area, and um, you put to shame anyone who said success can't come from South Bend because you did it while you were here in South Bend, right? So why don't you share a little bit of your story? That's awesome, and I think it's great, to have success come in from a different area as well as have our hometown success, just so people can see different communities, different perspectives. Anyone has a chance to make it, whether they're from here. If you're from here, you definitely got a chance to succeed. Don't write yourself off, and if you're moving into South Bend, there's a place for you here. We're glad to welcome you with open arms and invite you into the community. And so we're glad to have you. One thing that I would like to shift our attention to real quick with the note on gaming is you're probably wondering what that screen in the bottom right corner is. It's not related to South Bend, unfortunately. But what it is it's a game that I would love for us to all participate in as we talk about games. And so let me get us started here. So we can pick, it's called Stream Raiders by the company Stream Captain. And we can pick a level here if one of the mods in chat want to drop the link to play with us. So we're going to take on the swamp together and maybe one other level to try and get a reward as, an incentive to show what gaming is all about. And so this is like a two-dimensional platform, top-down platform game where you can place a unit. So I'll get us started here by placing a warrior in the swamp. And if anyone else wants to join in, feel free. It's an opportunity to see what gaming really is. And so with the shift in focus towards gaming, I would like to hear what your two, Brandon and Riss, what you guys enjoy playing right now. What are some of your favorite games right now? I know watching Riss on stream, she loves Animal Crossing. So what's your favorite thing about Animal Crossing, Riss? Uh-oh. Let's get that out real quick. Right, so any techies in the chat, if you want to drop some tips. I have it capturing desktop audio.
So are we coming in through?
Let's try this.
So you can hear our audio through the headset, correct?
Yep, I just switched it. So let's see if I fixed it there.
Okay.
So can I get a confirmation from chat?
Ah, there we go.
Perfect.
Yay. Okay, wonderful.
Technical
I'm sorry,
difficulties.
I didn't. They were able to hear you the whole time, Brian. So everything you were talking about, they were able to hear, but they did not hear anything from Brandon or I. So I do apologize. I just didn't want to interject too quickly.
No,
and I didn't notice until after our intros that we were being quiet, but everyone can hear us now, so yay.
Yeah, so why don't we take it back from the top? I'm so sorry, chat, for that technical difficulty. OBS is quite interesting at times, let's just say that. So I think it reset my settings this morning. I apologize. So with that said, let's get back to Riss, why don't you share your South Bend story again?
Absolutely, no problem. So I'll take it from the top. Hi, everyone. It's wonderful to be here. Thank you so much, Ryan, for having me here with all of you today. Also, a huge hi and thanks to the Peachy Pack, those of you that are hanging out with us tonight. It's lovely to see you in chat. I miss you all so much. So my South Bend story is very simple. I met my now husband at an anime convention in Chicago about 15 years ago. And within 2 years, I decided that I knew where I was going. And so I moved in with him. I've been here for roughly 13 years. And in that time, we've built a brand together. We've opened up our own anime store here in town. And we travel to conventions, about 100 anime cons a year. So, it's just goes to show that, if you really love what you're doing, you can do anything with yourself and you can really spread joy to other people. And, South Bend has just become my new hometown and I love it here.
That's awesome. And we're so thankful to have you again. Yeah, thank you so much, Riz. And then Brandon,
no problem.
Why don't you try your story again?
So I've been living in South Bend my whole life, born and raised here. I started doing animations, I say about 5 or 6 years ago, but I had been drawing my whole life. So it's always something I wanted to be a part of. But I kind of learned it a little bit more in college. And I started animating. I started putting videos on YouTube just to kind of put stuff out there to see what people thought, and it started picking up a following. So I just kept doing it. And eventually I kind of grew this following of people who enjoyed watching the stuff that I animate. Now I'm kind of working on things like comic books, animated series, anything artistic. I just love to draw and animate. So yeah, I'm born and raised here in South Bend. I love it here. I do a lot of traveling now, but I never, for some reason, it never really crossed my mind to like move because I love being here. So
That's awesome. Yeah, and we're also so glad to have you here, Brandon, in our community. We're thankful for both of you and what you bring to our community. Each of your unique gifts, it's amazing. Both of you are artists, and right, and so Brandon's a designer for his channel, and Briss obviously designs her own merch, and so that's really awesome.
Mhm.
There's so many unique opportunities within the gaming community, and it's great. Um, I don't know how to tangent back into what we were talking about, but we were talking about Animal Crossing. So, Riss, why
Yes.
don't you? What's your favorite thing about Animal Crossing?
Oh, favorite thing about Animal Crossing? Oh goodness. So I've been playing Animal Crossing since it was out on the GameCube. But with the newest one, New Horizons, I've been really addicted to the fact that you can actually terraform your entire island. I am very much all for customization. I like to be able to think outside the box. So when they said, "Hey, here's a deserted island, make it pretty, bring people here and have fun with your friends," I instantly knew that I would be addicted from day one. And I have been, and I've spent way too much time on that game, and my community can tell you that.
That's awesome. And Brandon, are you a crosser of the animals? Do you cross paths on the game?
yes, I actually play that game a lot. I actually have my Switch controller right here because I play it way too much. I started off when the game first came out. The first time I ever played it was on GameCube, but when it came out for Switch, I was so ready for it. And the main thing that I do is do custom designs, custom clothing on my YouTube channel. Any type of design you can think of, I've tried to make it. I've created like every NBA logo, MLB logo. I just sit on the game and create all day because I just I don't know, I love it.
Yeah, it's really cool the outlets that games give us, right? To allow you artists to be creative, allow a game like Minecraft for the engineering minded, or even people like me who are just kind of somewhere in between, where we can build or fight zombies if we want to. We can change our path every day. Games give us some really amazing opportunities. So, what was maybe the first game that really got you hooked?
Hmm. First game that really got me hooked to video games in general, I would have to say was I think it was Pokemon Red. I had not really been into playing a lot of video games before I got my first handheld, and so when I got Pokemon Red, I was instantly addicted. It gave me an escape that I needed. It was during a really tough time in my life when I was younger, and it really just kind of it helped me make new friends that were also playing video games. It helped me just kind of problem solve and go through some things internally. And since then, I've just been addicted. I've played every single Pokemon game since it originally came out in the United States. And from there, it branched out into other games. I think the first game that really got my attention was Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. I I've played that game so many times, um, and it has always been trying to do it faster and faster. Not a speedrunner, but I do enjoy playing games that are more of a challenge. I'm terrible at puzzle games, but I really enjoy putting myself through the torture. But yeah, just games in general, especially Nintendo games, have been a huge part of my life, and so I couldn't imagine myself not playing video games now.
Yeah, it's really great. How about you, Brandon? Do you have any Legend of Zelda memories to share with us?
I think the first game that I played that really got me into playing video games was either Mortal Kombat or Streets of Rage. Because back when Sega Genesis first came out, my dad and my sister were huge like Sega Genesis fans. So like Sonic, Mortal Kombat, anything that they had on there is like the first time I really got into playing video games. And then when I was able to start getting my own video games and figuring out what games I liked the most, that's when I started playing Pokemon. Um, a bunch of different games. I think the game that really had me playing video games, Crash Bandicoot. Once I could get games on my own, not go to the store and pick out games. I got Crash Bandicoot. I think it was Crash Bash, and it was the funnest game I had ever had. Me and my friends would sit down and play it, and yeah, I love that game.
Yeah. And that touches on another really cool thing too, like the memories we create with friends, whether it's a single player game like Crash Bandicoot, has a story mode, right? And I mean, even Pokemon, there's a single player aspect with it, with a multiplayer twist at times, and so the different things you can do. Do you think you have a particular gaming memory that sticks out that's like really close to your heart? Do you have one of those, or do you think it's like a culmination of just like those Friday nights with friends where you would get together and play games?
Oh gosh, there's a lot of memories associated with games. But I would have to say, if I could only choose a specific memory or a series of memories, video games were how I was able to long distance date my now husband. And so I'll never forget, we started playing Final Fantasy 11 online. It was the first MMO from the Final Fantasy series, and we were playing this together, leveling together, making new friends together, and I will never forget there was a raid that we were doing together in an area known as C, and it was one of the hardest areas at the time. And my job as the thief was supposed to be to pull a whole bunch of monsters out of range so that way they could run past it and get into the boss arena. And then they were going to pull me in and revive me. Well, what ended up happening was I took a wrong turn in this labyrinth, and I ended up bringing all of the monsters back to the party. It was my first time doing it, and so all of us died. All of us had to had to rerun all the way back to the main room, and we had to try it all over again. It took an extra hour, and I felt so bad, but everybody was laughing about it. We all had a great laugh about it in general. It was a fun run. We'll never forget it, and so it's forever known as Rissa's fun run.
That's great. Your own version of Leroy Jenkins, right?
Pretty much. I was so excited. I brought the boss to us.
Oh yeah, that's great. That's great. Yeah, it's so much fun to do that, even in modern games like Elder Scrolls, right? Like how they can bring communities together. How about you,
Yes.
Brandon? Did you ever participate in any tournaments as a kid or anything, or do you have any specific memories, or was it more just the kind of camaraderie of beating the missions and finding out who the best fighter was?
I think it was a, a little bit of that. I started off. My brothers and sisters were all like way older than me, so when they would leave and go have fun, I was always the youngest one. They didn't want to take me, so I would stay at home and play video games. That's what really like. That's what I spent most of my time doing. I know in high school, that's when I knew I was playing video games a lot. I think it was around the time of Xbox 360. I started playing Halo, and I just remember spending like hours playing Halo online. And that's like I guess it's like my favorite memory of like high school. I used to love sitting and playing Halo after school.
That's awesome. Yeah, I remember those days too. I remember my friend had gotten Halo, and technically I wasn't allowed because I was under the age limit or whatever, and so that was the what we would do on the weekends is sneak in games of Halo for me. I wasn't very good because I didn't get to play very much, but it was still fun and mostly harmless. That was great. Now both of you have really taken that lane and ran with it. Obviously, right? You've found a niche within your own content creation world and found a way to share stories and connect with people. So, outside of the obvious connection with people, what kind of values do you think there is in content creation? Maybe generally and within your own specifically.
Specifically, content creation with my community is, again, like you were saying, about people and interaction and connectivity, but it's also one of wholesomeness and trying to bring happiness to other people. And of course, I love to educate other artists. I'm not the kind of artist that feels that you should be stuck in a scarcity mindset. I feel that art and expression is one of abundance. And so we try to teach on my channel that you can collaborate, you can talk about your sources, you can share with other people, and that, if somebody else decided to start a brand today, that my work, their work, and everyone else's work is completely valued and loved because you're always going to be somebody's favorite artist. So there's no reason to feel that jealousy of competition, because your work is just as valued as my work. And that is something that we try to spread around the community because there's too much toxicity. And so we try to level the playing field and bring everybody some love.
Hmm, really good stuff. How about you, Brandon? What do you, is there something like that drives your channel in terms of the values, or what thoughts do you have on, the value behind content?
Outside of just creating the content, one of the main things I push is positive thinking, because before, as I was like building my YouTube channel, before I started making YouTube videos, I was in like a really like down state. Like I was like really depressed at the time. So now in my, like in different videos and on my channel, I try to really preach about like well, not preach, but I try to push and let try to let my followers know that they always have someone, and just talking about positivity and just thinking positive, because I used to be in like a situation where I would always have like negative thoughts and stuff like that. So I try to talk to my followers about that a lot lately, and they really enjoy it because I can see in the comment section, I can see there's a community of people who come every video and just leave a positive comment for everybody. Even if the video isn't anything about that, we find, a group of people to have comments and stuff like that. So that's one of the things I really enjoy getting out there when it comes to my content.
Yeah, absolutely, and I love that you're both talking about the positives, right? And that's something that's kind of one of the underlying values behind this community I hope to create. And one of the reasons why I really was so glad to have you both here is because you two both do a great job of spreading out that positivity. And I have a follow up question, but it's just amazing what the positives gaming can bring from that. A little side tangent. Do you guys see yourselves as influencers, or do you kind of just roll with the punches? Like, hey, these are people I enjoy hanging out with, and it's just kind of natural.
Um, Personally, for me, I don't necessarily see myself as an influencer, although some would beg to differ. Personally, for me, everybody that spends time with me, whether it's on social media, on Twitch, anybody that watches my backlog VODs, which thank you, by the way, if you do that. That's a lot of backlog. Um, I think of them as family. So the Peachy Pack to me is just what it is. We're the Peachy Pack. We are a group of amazing people, and I think that what's positive with that is that you do influence people in one way or another, and you get to choose how you influence people if they're in the position to be influenced. And I feel that the more positivity that you can bring to an individual, the better for them, the better for you, because I would rather put more positive energy out there than to create anything that would be negative or misleading. So I guess in a way, we're all kind of an influencer.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I would agree with that. Because even I've heard it said from some pretty wise people that even if you're not, influencing 10, 10, 20, 30 people, you're still having influence over yourself, over your own choices, and maybe even just the person next to you. So that's definitely good. What would you say your approach to like spreading that influence is, Brandon?
At first, I didn't really think much of being labeled as influencer. I just thought I created content and stuff like that until I would like go out and do different cons or go to different conventions, and I would see so many kids knowing some of the content that I create and stuff like that. And that's when it kind of came to me that like kind of have an influence over, some people, some kids, some people who want to be influenced, or some people who just follow the stuff that I do. So I kind of take that a lot more seriously now, when it comes to creating content. That's why I really enjoy pushing that positivity on everybody. Just because there's so many people watching, you never know who's watching your videos, who just kind of needs like uh, s- something to lift them up, or something like that. So I enjoy being able to be that now, even though I didn't really understand it before.
That is just so awesome to hear.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Thank you.
I
No,
just it's so wonderful because, if you think about it, we are influencers, and that's just, I don't know, it's kind of amazing, and if we could put more positive out there, yes.
I don't want to go like super far off subject, but someone there's I think it was last night. Someone inboxed me and kind of asked me about. He was like, "Hey, could you follow my brother? He's like a really big fan of your stuff." And I was like, "Yeah, for sure." So I followed him and I commented on some of his pictures, and he sent me this video of his brother like freaking out because I followed him and stuff. And it's like it's moments like that that really that it just it melts my heart, because it's like I still can't believe I'm just a kid from South Bend who was able to gain this following and be able to create content that make people smile, and just I don't know. It was such a crazy moment.
That's amazing. Oh my goodness.
yeah,
That's so great
that
to hear.
yeah, that's
I love
great.
that.
That's great to hear, and it's really cool. Again, just to think of the influence you can have over someone like you. You were, I would imagine you weren't trying. You're just trying to, like, give them a smile, say, "Hey, this is nice for you," and just to make someone's day like that is wild. And it's definitely what the gaming community is all about, in my opinion. How can we bring people together? How can we celebrate these awesome feats? And just like Riss said, I don't think I don't think the opportunities are scarce to spread the positivity. So there's some really great stuff, and I would love to dig into some of what the other positives I've heard you guys mention, because we talk about these positives, and we talk about some other things like influence. We can have a positive influence over other. We can spread smiles.
Yes.
Um, but I've also in conversations, and I think we briefly talked a little bit about it too tonight, is the idea of learning. So what is something that you thought or that you learned from a video game, or that you think video games can teach us?
Oh, there is a multitude of things that video games can teach an individual, but something that personally for me, that I've learned from video games is the way that you can connect to other people. Um, Whether it's through a dungeon raid where you kill everyone on accident, or whether you are just trying to help somebody who just started and they're a very low level. I think that connecting to an individual and being helpful and giving that give and take is very important, especially now. There's so much selfishness in the world, and unfortunately it's just a sad reality, but we can dial it back and we can reconnect with individuals, especially on a more personal level, through video games. And whether that's going out and finding somebody completely random in the game that is shouting for help, or maybe a friend is picking up a brand new game, they have no idea what they're doing and you're just helping them. It's a way for you to connect, and especially with how much there's social distancing right now, it's important to have ways to stay connected and feel connected even when we can't be physically connected.
Yeah, that's definitely awesome, and it's really great to have these opportunities to stay connected like that through these shared experiences, whether we're learning or just playing. I think it can bring out a lot of different emotions. I'm seeing some in the chat,
Mm.
some
Yes.
anger, some anger when you can't just get that quest or can't beat that boss, and learning how to deal with that. The the mature mind will take the time to recognize that, hey, I
Mhm,
can't beat this boss out of anger, like it's not helping me. And so that's something we can overcome, and if we have conversations, we can truly unlock that ability outside of gaming too. We kind of,
mhm.
it's introspective in a way, in that it forces us to think because we enjoy doing it and we want to do something, but we can't get what we want, and so we have to find a new solution. Um, and so that's really great. Did you have anything to add for that, Brandon? Do you have any unique experiences when it comes to learning through video games?
Not anything specific. A lot of the stuff that she said was like right on to a lot of stuff that I learned from it. Of course, it taught me a lot of things like patience and strategizing on certain things, but she pretty much covered a lot of it.
Yeah. And I'm sure, as creators, you two have learned a lot along the way. Would you consider yourself self-taught, or do you go out to seek things, or do you think people have guided you, or a little bit of both?
Um, I'm definitely a self-taught artist. I've been drawing since I could hold a pencil. Um, but as far as influence over style, I definitely knew at a young age that I wanted to be an artist the rest of my life. And so for me, it was all about wanting to create things that brought me joy. So stuffed animals, I'm a plush creator, as well as a designer and artist. So for me, a lot of it was wanting to bring my love for simplicity and Japanese aesthetic to life and to help other people feel that joy as well. It was never about money for me. It was always about creating something and creating an experience for people. And for me, that was just a huge part of my life. I mean, when somebody comes up to me at a show or emails me and says, "I've seen your plush here," or "I didn't know that you were in Hot Topic," and they let me know how my plush or my designs have made their days better, that to me is one of the most amazing and just euphoric feelings. So, didn't mean to get off on a tangent there, but, definitely
That's fine.
self-taught, and influenced by Japanese minimalism for sure.
Yeah, it's awesome how you can take inspiration from different cultures, and we can use those opportunities to kind of find different ways to connect. How about you, Brandon? What kind of styles would you say kind of have influenced you in the ways you've learned, whether it's drawing or creation?
When it comes to drawing, I started off drawing a lot of anime. I loved watching
Mhm.
anime when I was younger. I still love watching it now, but I started off drawing a lot of different anime. So that's kind of what got me started with the drawing. And then as I got older, I started reading different comic books, um, watching different cartoons. So it's so many different things that kind of influence what I do now. I started off kind of once I got older to doing YouTube, I learned a lot of the stuff that I know from doing on YouTube from watching tutorials. Once I found out that YouTube is like a university that you could just sit on there and figure out how to do anything you want to do, I use it to like the fullest potential. And now I'm a little bit more into like collecting books and stuff like that, art books, comic books, a lot. So that's like my main thing: video games, comic books, anime. It all influenced my style of what I do now.
Yeah, that's awesome, and it's great to. I think it goes back to Rissa's original comment. That again, the idea of scarcity is that there's always a different take on art, and so she had said you'll always be someone's favorite, and so some people might connect with an anime, but maybe there's something amiss, and to be able to learn from that anime and take that style and put your own story to it. There's always going to be a unique perspective and a different story to tell, and so that's really amazing. So speaking of stories, and we've been talking a lot also about like kind of connecting. What what are some ways that people can that you have found, Brandon? We can start with you. What are some ways you've found that you can connect with people over video games? Maybe when you're like far away from people, because right now, especially, we are socially distant in many regards, kind of forced into that. And so, what are some ways you stay connected via video games?
When it comes to video games, I think so. Like lately, I've been playing a lot of. Well, we already said this, but I've been playing a lot of Animal Crossing. I've been doing tutorials. I've been showing people how to do stuff, and I've noticed that so many people have kind of gravitated towards that. Whether it be me showing them how to draw a certain design on there, or me opening up my town so that people can, or my island so that people can come through and just hang out with me and have fun. Um, just just seeing that is like really cool to see how much I can like interact with people that follow my channel and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's super awesome. Just the power of connection and in the ways we can interact with community and get people together. How about you, Riss? What are some ways that some unique ways you've connected with people?
Let's see, unique ways. Well, again, just just like Miranda was saying, very much with Animal Crossing. Of course, opening islands, spending time together. I have recently been utilizing both Final Fantasy 14 and Animal Crossing as ways to offer one-on-one specialized time outside of stream with people via a site called ePal. So basically, people can hang out with me in stream chat. We can play games together on Animal Crossing. We can be together on Final Fantasy 14. And then for individuals that want to spend some more like one-on-one time, hangout time, they can utilize ePal with me through Discord. And it's just a really nice way to get honest, just close connection with people and just learn about their lives. I have grown closer to quite a few of my community members simply because we're able to play games together one on one like that. And there's not a lot of experiences that I feel that people can get without doing a little bit of that one on one time. I think that it's important to be able to have interactions and chat with people. And, it's great to do it on Twitch in a group setting, but sometimes that little bit of conversation makes them feel that much more special. And I know that it's that much more special to me.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you about led into what I was just thinking next is we love the ability to be able to interact virtually. Like it's definitely such a privilege and a gift to be able to share at least conversation and share an experience with somebody. But how much more so, especially again right now, are we missing some of the human connections? And you had mentioned you met your husband at a convention, and so
Hmm.
I would love to hear about kind of how you how you handle conventions and what you think the best kind of experience at a convention you've had is.
Oh gosh, conventions are just magical for me. I've been doing them, like I said, for nearly a decade now, and conventions are one of those ways where I truly get to see how my work has impacted somebody's life. Every time that somebody came up to my booth and would say, "I love your art," or "I love this," or "Your stuffed animals got me through depression," like there are stories upon stories and emails and messages of people that have told me that something that I've created has become their personal anxiety, item, something that helps them cope with different forms of depression. And I'll never forget. I had somebody from a convention purchase a nom wall. They had a form of autism and they had touch sensory problems to where they would get overwhelmed without holding something. And my nom wall was their special item that kept them from having sensory overload. And I cried when I read that message because to know that that was something that I made that they cherished in their life so much and made a difference in their quality of life truly meant something to me. And I'll never forget the moment that that happened. So just knowing that I have an actual impact on somebody's life like that truly just makes my world light up.
Yeah.
Sorry, not trying to get like emotional over here.
No, it truly shows. I think one thing I think growing up, you saw the merchandise and you're like, oh, it's just merchandise, it's just another dollar, but it can mean so much more to someone, right? And it's not about meaning something to everything. It's about finding your place in the community and knowing that there is a place for you. And I think that's amazing that people are able to find something to just truly connect with, even if it's just a portion of their story that they can share. It's definitely amazing, and that is a really awesome experience. But again, goes to speak again, I think, to your passion and ability to craft this, and so thank you for being an amazing creator. And how about you, Brandon? I know you had said, um, You said you hadn't got out of South Bend, had the opportunity to get out of South Bend much, or just didn't get out of South Bend much. Outside of until you went and started doing your YouTube and you started traveling more. So, where do you think your favorite? What is your favorite convention that you've been to, or favorite city that you've been to in traveling?
So I've done about three cons altogether. One was in Atlanta, and the other two were or the other was in South Bend, and one was in Indiana. I mean, in Indianapolis.
Hmm.
And there was a con that I went to in Atlanta, and that one meant so much to me because kind of like how she just shared a story of a supporter that she met. I met a group of people who drove 8 hours just because they knew I was going to be there in Atlanta, and that it made me feel like that was like one of those turning points where I kind of really realized how big of an impact I had with connecting with people and stuff like that, because I would have never imagined that somebody would have drove that far just to come and meet me because of something that I created on the internet, that they could feel so closely to, like that. That story sticks with me like for forever, because that was like such a crazy experience. In that same con, we just got to connect with so many different people from Atlanta and places that were around there. But it's just like, man, it's just so heartwarming to meet these people. And I don't even know how to explain it. I'm like at a loss for words, because that's how crazy it is to be able to connect with people that you might have never met before and that you would have never even known outside of doing what you're doing.
Yeah, and I also think it's cool to meet people who have such a shared interest, who you might think come from such a different place. You think South Bend, small town, Georgia, big city, and yet there are people all over, whether they're in urban or rural place. Like there are probably farmers who enjoy Animal Crossings. There are bankers who enjoy Animal Crossings. There's people from every walk of life that enjoy some aspect of a game, and you can find a connection with them, and really build something from there. You don't have to share every interest, but just to be able to share a moment of kindness and respect for their story is amazing. And what are some tips for people that want to go to it? Maybe they haven't gone to a con, or they've gone to a con and are kind of maybe timid. What are your, if you had to give someone three tips, what would you say to help people kind of break out of their shell, or enjoy the experience the most?
Let's see. Well, I mean, first and foremost, all of us are in the exact same boat since we're all going to the same con. So you never have to worry, because I promise you, you will find somebody who is just like you in many ways. And you may find your best friend or your significant other there. You never know. I was actually really scared to go to the con that I went to, where I met my now husband. It was only my second show. It was my very first time selling my artwork, and I put myself out there, terrified to do anything, extremely socially awkward, and I ended up finding the guy that I was gonna spend the rest of my life with. So you just have to take that chance, because I guarantee you, you're gonna have the time of your life if you try a con for the first time.
Yeah, and I definitely think you can make the most out of any experience, just by putting yourself out there. So if you attend a con, I think you're taking that first step already, and you should pat yourself on the back, just for doing something you enjoy. Like relish that moment that you're getting to go out there. How about yourself, Brandon? Do you have any tips for anyone to break their shell and kind of get out there and make the connections they've always been wanting to make?
I would definitely tell them to just kind of go for it. I had just started doing cons recently, and one thing that I kind of learned throughout the time of doing it, before I started really having a following, I would go to cons to kind of meet people that inspired me. And before, I used to be like really nervous to say something. Like, I don't know why I maybe thought that they wouldn't. I don't know, they wouldn't react maybe a way that I would want them to, or I was just nervous to. I'm kind of like socially awkward, so I'm just like a little nervous to like talk to people that I haven't met before. But I would definitely tell people, if there's, what I'm saying, a reason you're going to the con, or a person that you want to meet, definitely take that leap of just getting to, not necessarily getting to know them because you probably don't have that much time, but just saying hi to them, because that could do so many things. There was a con that I went to, and I there was a guy that I followed for a very long time. I loved his content, and I was like so nervous to say anything, but I finally said something, and now we've been collaborating on content just based off of me saying, "Hey, how's it going? I really love your content," and stuff like that. But it's an awesome place. It's an atmosphere where you can meet people that are into the same things that you're into. You can make friends there. It's just I don't know. I just love cons. It's an awesome atmosphere to be in.
It is great, and I love that advice. Get out there and say hi and take a chance. And it can really be as simple as going and saying hi to someone. Start feeling what you're looking for, and just take that chance to say something as simple as hi, and be mindful of barriers and all that, but say hi, take a chance and learn from the opportunity. Even if you do have to face, rejection, or someone doesn't, acknowledge you, maybe they were busy or something, but you took that chance and you took a first step. So you can, again, pat yourself on the back and, take the next step next time. Maybe say, hi, how are you doing? With a little bit more confidence in your voice, because you know that you're able to say hi uh, at least once. And so building up that ability. So we are getting close to the hour mark, and I do want to thank you again, Brandon, and Riss, for joining me tonight. I want to see if the audience had any questions. Get some questions in the chat if you have something you want to find out for yourself. One final question I have is, what makes you two excited? You had both committed, and I again appreciate your willingness to be part of the first convention. Hopefully, we'll still be able to do that once with a new date once we announce that. But I appreciate even the willingness to be part of the convention. So, what makes you excited about having a GameCon here in South Bend?
Well, something that's really exciting about having a gaming con, especially here in our hometown, is that, I'm going to get to meet more local people that have the same kind of interests. We'll be able to bring more people just to the area in general. Um, to have fun together. But of course, it's always wonderful to know that your hometown has something really fun to attend. And I think that this is going to be just a wonderful opportunity for people to meet new friends, to gather around, talk about their favorite like games, and really experience something unique in our area.
Awesome. How about you, Brandon?
I'm definitely excited about it because I feel like I get to go and meet more people that are like me. I kind of said it earlier, but I'm like a little bit socially awkward, so I don't go out much. I mean, I might go to the comic book store and hang out there for a minute, but I don't go out much. So to be able to go somewhere where I can meet a lot of people who are into a lot of the same things that I'm into, it sounds like a great time, and I know it's like the perfect place to be able to meet new people, make new friends, and stuff like that.
Yeah, awesome. And yeah, I think it's great. And another thing that I was just thinking about while you're talking is, you have three people. I haven't self-confessed, but I am also socially awkward, probably. And so, we have three people here who are socially awkward, and at least two of them are very successful. And so, it doesn't matter. It just matters on you taking a chance. And so, I hope you all find something that you're passionate about tonight from this stream, and just take a chance. If you want to be an artist, start drawing. It doesn't matter if you think you stink at drawing. Someone thinks you're good at drawing. And if you want to be a streamer, go out there and do it with no expectations. Say, hey mom, I want you to watch my stream, and it'll probably make her smile, because it'll be a new way for her to connect with you. Or one of your friends, one of your college buddies, hey man, I haven't talked to you in a while, let's play Rocket League or Fortnite or whatever games fancy your taste. We had a couple really great questions. One of them is kind of a question I'd already planned on asking, so Matcha, thanks for asking that. We're going to use that one to wrap up with. But I wanted to first ask Sable Dragonrook's question. She asked if you could suggest just one thing for a figure to start doing to a person to start doing to foster a positive community. What would you suggest they focus on?
Oh, a huge part of fostering a positive community is having your own beliefs and guidelines, and being firm about them. Um, you can't foster a positive environment if you let toxic people overrun it. So you have to be firm in what you believe, and like-minded people that share that positivity will flock to you. It may take some time and cultivation, but in time, you will foster a wonderful community, just like I have with the PG Pack.
Yeah, that's a great. Did you have anything to add to that, Brandon?
I think the way that I kind of started creating a somewhat of a positive community is I kind of shared with everybody what I was going through. And I think once they seen, that I'm kind of going through the same thing that others might be going through, it sort of let them into what I was really stuff that I had going on. And that's what kind of got me to the point where I could tell them like, yo, I'm going through this. So I try to be positive about this, and this. And then the other thing I would say is not responding to the negativity, because the more
Yes.
if they see you responding to the negativity, then it's just going to bring more negativity to a situation. So a lot of things I do when I see a negative comment, some people tell me I shouldn't, but I just go ahead and delete it just so that we don't even have negativity in our comment section or in our chat. So yeah.
Yeah, and
That's awesome.
yeah, it is. I've seen several different approaches to handling it, and to each their own. But I think the people that I appreciate, and I think the communities appreciate the most. I've seen Riss do it a few times, um, in her chat and stuff, and the way to take a negative and turn it into a positive. So, in the idea of being firm and like Brandon said, kind of in a sense deleting it, but how can you even transform it? How can you shift it back to your values? Like, I don't have any great examples off the top of my head, but I know that again, I've seen Risk do it. I've seen some of our other people who committed to be panelists do it, and they do such a great job of saying, "Hey, here in our community, we're really focused on being positive, and like we just want you to have a good day." And one of my friends, Miranda, I recall her saying, "Hey, I don't know what's got you so down today, but I hope we can cheer you up today," or something like that. Something as simple as that. Because then it
Mhm.
kind of it dismisses their negativity in one sense, but also invites them to say, "Hey, you're welcome here if you want to be positive. If you're looking for something, if you want to have a good time, if you want to put a smile back on your face, then why don't you join us?" Um,
Yes.
I
Yes.
like
yeah,
that.
it's great, and yeah, there's definitely different approaches. I would encourage you all to make sure you go follow Riss at Tasty Peach Studios. If one of the mods wants to link her Twitch in chat, that'd be great. Brandon, if you want to post your YouTube in chat, any other channels you have, be sure to go check them out. That kind of ties us right back into Matcha's question. Do you guys have any upcoming projects or any announcements you'd like to share with us? Any public announcements you'd like to share?
Oh, I have a couple. I have a couple. So, because of COVID-19, unfortunately, a lot of conventions are postponed. And since so many of my community members, as well as fans of my brand, have been forced to online shopping, I have indefinitely during this crisis have free shipping for all of my items. So if you're wanting to get yourself something special, something to perk you up, you can get it with absolutely free shipping in the United States on tastbeachstudios.com. We also have a Mercari, where all of our anime store selections have been put as an online, so that way you don't have to worry about coming into our store, which at this time is closed. Outside of that, I have been doing a lot with my Patreon lately, as well as my Twitch. I have been doing a new pin club membership tiers. So I have two brand new enamel pins every single month. And on Twitch, we're, of course, continuing the positivity, bringing in new members every single day, and just trying to spread the love within the community.
That's awesome. Thanks for everything you do, and you all should definitely check her out. I was just sharing with her before the stream that I still have her Vaporeon, little Pokeball with Vaporeon inside from a charity stream she did away, and it was phenomenally done, and I love it. I wish I had it here, but it's in one of my packed bags right now, so I need to find it. But
I'm so glad you have that.
yeah, it's amazing. I love it. Brandon, how about yourself? What you're still working on Lil Ron Run, your series, and you're starting up. Well, you've been doing gaming channel for a while, right? So any upcoming projects or big plans for you, or just kind of laying low until the next one's announced?
So I've been working on getting a lot of content on my gaming channel. I'm on the road to 100,000 subscribers on there. So I've been working really hard on that. And the another thing I'm super excited about, I just started working on my first web comic slash animation. So it's going to be an animated series, and I'm doing a web comic on Webtoon, which the first preview is already up there. It's going to be called Lumen. It's a superhero romance based comic and animated series that I'm just so excited about it. We're like 3 episodes in on the script, but I'm animating the first episode now. So I'm going to come out with the comic first, and then I'm going to come out with the first episode for the animated series. And I've been watching like so many like DC and Marvel TV shows that it really made me want to be creative and create a web comic and animation. So it's my first superhero type cartoon. So I'm like super excited about it. I have the preview for that on my YouTube channel, and the trailer for it is on Webtoon.
Awesome. Well, I look forward to seeing some more of your content, Brandon. I definitely love the energy both of you have. So again, so thankful for having you on stream. Um, Stick around for a minute so I can thank you after stream. And without further ado, let's wrap the stream up with an epic battle.
Oh, that is so cool. Look at him go.
Yeah.
Just destroyed them.
Yep. Yeah, so that's stream captains, and that was level 1. There was a 1 skull difficulty there. So it's a really cool interactive stream game that's in beta. Upper chat. It's in beta. Let me dish out these rewards.
That is so cool.
But yeah, it's a beta game. It's interactive, and I think it captures perfectly. Kind of the goal of Twitch is to have this interaction with your favorite gamer. There's so many different ways you can utilize Twitch. Whether it's you want to watch the top pros and get better, or you want to hang out with Riss and Brandon and get to know them a little more. You can make the most of Twitch just by being present and following your own passion. So again, thanks everyone for being here. Why don't we spread the love a little bit? If one of my mods wants to shout out someone who they see live that's in their communities, we'll go ahead and go raid them. But again, I want to send out a final thank you to everyone for being here. We will be back again next week with the South Bend Cubs Director of Media and Promotions, Chris Hagstrom. Fun fact, he was actually my boss for a period of time. But the South Bend Cubs are an amazing local organization that do a lot for our community, and we're going to be talking about the idea of play and how there's not, we talk about games, but we don't always talk about the play side of it. Talk about it, we do it. So next week we're going to talk about that. But I see we have a birthday raid. So Teal Cutie. Is that how you say that? I think we can share some birthday love.
Oh, yay!
So again, thank you everyone so much. Thanks Brandon and Riss for being here. Thanks chat for being so lively and positive. I love it. Let's go share this love with Teal Cutie. I've got the countdown going. Don't forget to
Woo!
spam happy birthday and share the power with them.